Today we're going to be taking a look at something that I've been waiting a really long time for. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the work of Steve Wolfhard. He's a comic artist and cartoonist. He has done a lot of work storyboarding for Adventure Time. But I first found out about him, actually, through these comics he did about this character called Cat Rackham. It was like a little depressed cat. And this is his friend, Jeremy the Squirrel, who's just indomitable. I can't remember who introduced me to Cat Rackham. Someone may have just shared it on the internet. It was quite a few years ago. He's got a little dedication here to his wife, Leslie Wolfhard. If you don't already follow them both on Twitter, you ought to. Maybe I'll put some links in the description. His work has a sort of gentleness to it. And something I wouldn't call self-loathing, but I don't know what I'd call it. It's nicer than that. It's calmer than that. It's like more of an acceptance. An acceptance that sadness is okay. A quiet desire to live and let live. This page here is sort of a breakdown of what makes Cat Rackham who he is. 23% staring, 23% sleeping, 14% self-doubt, 11% panic, 9% the mopes, 7% adventure, 6% grooming, 4% foraging, and 3% eating. No. If I haven't mentioned it already, this book was put out by Koyama Press. And they have some amazing work. Just a huge body of beautiful comics. This first one here, Cat Rackham gets depression. It's wordless. It's just a series of images of nature going on about him while he struggles with that emptiness that you often hear about when people describe depression. Just sort of weighed down and immobile. And this beautiful, my crafts are getting in the way. This beautiful transition from winter to spring. And then here he looks down and there's a couple beetles enjoying themselves. And he thinks, oh, maybe I'm okay. For now. A lot of the themes explored in these comics are being overwhelmed and finding comfort in the small kindness of friends and strangers. Also, in between the little episodes, Jeremy's just off having fun, floating on dandelions and stuff like that. This one, I don't want to spoil it for you. You can find that online, or you can buy the comic and read it yourself. But he just wants some cream. He starts off here making a little fire, setting up a tea kettle sort of thing. It's like a mocked up sort of, what is it? Yeah, like water instead of actual tea. The tea is made with just a collection of possibly poisonous things. There's Jeremy. Can't help but pose. He just turned 6. He speaks with a slight speech impediment. Just makes him cuter. Jeremy tells me he found a cabin with some coffee and cream. And that's enough for Cat Rackham. Anyway, I won't spoil the rest of it, but it gets pretty intense over the next 15 to 20 pages. I'm trying to skip past it. Jeremy's stuck in a tulip. Maybe he thinks he's a bee. This one's a bit wild. Cat Rackham and the Haunted Bell. Just sees a little bell hanging from a tree. Taps it with a rock. The sound kills him. The birds come to feast on his bones. One of them drops a bone, hits a bell. The curse is transferred. And I guess he's okay. Here's another wordless one, not counting the sleepy Z there. The yellow wash really sort of visually expresses the kind of stuffy heat of sitting by a fire too long. If any of you sat by a campfire for a while, you know what I'm talking about. It's almost suffocating. But then a little spider gets in his clothes and he's dead. There's Jeremy giving him a hard time again. This one is probably the most experimental of all of them. He eats a mushroom and he just sort of starts teleporting everywhere and accidentally doing good things for all his little fellow forest creatures. Wittingly or unwittingly, he's under the control of this little mushroom growing out of his head. And I think it's because he slept out in the rain. Yeah. Or Jeremy just wants to give this bloodthirsty mountain lion a Valentine. If you saw earlier, he was comforted by a duck. In this one, there's a deer that's sad and he sort of carries on the tradition. When the mountain lion eats the mushroom and woof, off he goes. Now this comic, several years ago, Koyama put out a single run, saddle stitched. Cat Rackham loses it. It was only $5. And I thought, I'll get it. I'll just wait a little bit. And it sold out almost immediately. And I was crushed. I couldn't find a copy anywhere. And for years, I would periodically become overwhelmed with a sense of buyer's remorse. The comic I missed out on. The only time I ever found a copy online was a copy on Amazon that was going for $100. I thought that is a little bit too much. It's a little rich for my tastes. And so I just sucked it up and said, you know what? I missed out. No matter how hard I tried to come to grips with that, it's the one thing that always drove me crazy. Eventually, Koyama teamed up with Sequential, and I downloaded that app and bought I think it was $2.99 for a digital copy, and I read it for the first time, and I absolutely loved it. It's a really fun story about this cat who has somehow mastered warfare by strapping a revolver to his back with a belt. And it's perfectly perpendicular to him. And he shoots it by jumping. And look, he knocks Cat Rackham's little hair squiggle off his head, which is a terrible offense. This story is so much fun. And I think it's the last one he made. He may have made one after it, but to my knowledge, it's the last one. I could be wrong. And I swear to you, I have never coveted a comic as much as I coveted that one. Even when I had it digitally, I still wanted it in print. It just kept haunting me that I missed that little tiny window. Because normally I don't, it just doesn't bother me if I miss out on stuff. I don't know why. This one just drove me up the wall. So when I heard that they were putting out this hardcover, I knew I had to sign up for it the day it went on sale. Of course, I still waited a little bit even after that. But I got it, and I love it. And it is one of my most cherished possessions now. I have a pretty decent collection of comics. And this is just going to be one of, I guess the word top shelf is a little bit cliche, but you know, it's, oh my goodness, autofocus, will you relax? Autofocus is going crazy. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be one of my favorite comics, and I will try to keep it in good condition for many, many years. And on the subject of Steve Wolfhard's work, this little mini comic, I mean, what is that? Just maybe 2 inches by 4 inches. Turdy needs work. He's just this plucky little turtle. Now that's a steal. I have a friend who buys comics for me at conventions that I can't go to. And I absolutely demanded that this be included. So I PayPal'd them a little stipend for many comics. And I said, buy this one and then use it as inspiration for whatever else you want to buy me. Just let your imagination do the work. That's so cheesy. I didn't actually say that. I would never say that. I don't remember what I said. Basically, it's just a little 2-panel thing where he gets a job. And he's always totally incapable of doing them, but he performs them with the maximum amount of gusto that a tiny little turtle can manage. He's so excited for filing that he accidentally filed himself. This is one of my favorites right here. He's an assassin. I've got a job for you, Dirty. Sounds good to me. Look out, I'm about to shoot you. Probably the kindest assassin ever. He's a massage therapist. But he has qualms about his work. It's adorable. This too is one of my cherished possessions. It's a pretty good handkerchief, huh? Wouldn't even know he's there. And there's Annie Koyama as a little turdy herself. Anyway, I hope you liked it. Feel free to subscribe, or if not, don't. Good night, everybody.